Welcome back, folks, to the second episode of my uh, young adult life story. So, right after I um, the process of that journey, after she was buried, come home. It was uh, it was really sad. I feel like being a child. Uh, when I come home, I feel like there is no light, because I feel like a mother sees the light in the family, no matter what. The mother is she's like a hen. She wants her chicks is under her wings to make it sure that her children is safe. But I don't have that security blanket, and it was a difficult time to process losing a mother at the early stage. So anyway, of course, life need to continue, and it was a difficult journey to process, because I was at school. I was graduate. My mom passed away in mid February, and I was graduating my elementary on March. So it was a difficult process to understand how to cope it, and nobody understand the feeling of losing a parent. That it was like a game. When I'm not home, I was thinking that, oh, she's home. When I'm home, I was thinking that, oh, she went to the market. That is how the guessing game is all about. So I know that my dad, he was so sad about the tragedy, and I always talk to him, because I can see the look in his eyes that he was so sad about the tragedy. So I was not sure if I have to continue to go back to school, or because it was so difficult to cope, because it is a close family, and a happy family, and all of a sudden you lose that in a split second. So I always talk to my dad just to comfort him, because I can see his sadness, I can see his loneliness, losing a loved ones, a wife, instantly. It is so difficult to accept it. So it was a difficult journey. So one day, after my graduation, I talked to my dad that I have to do something, and he said, what is it? I said, I have to move on, and my goal at the time really is to continue my study. No matter what, I will have a conviction that no matter how hard or difficult it would have been I have to continue my journey and I have to build a brighter future, although my mom is gone. And as a young kid, I have to, I don't know, it was like you know, when you are a young adult, like I would say 12, 13 and 14 years old, how do you navigate your young adult life? How it was a process, and all I need at that time is helping my dad. And when we come home from the farm, my mom is there. So it was a difficult, you know, to adjust that when you come home, there is no, you don't see your mom, you don't, you know, she's no longer there. So my dad said, where are you going? I said, I have to move on and I have to go to Manila to continue my school. And he said, we don't have really relatives there, and I don't want that something happened to you. But I promised it to him that I said, I will take care of myself. I will have to be careful and I will be good. So he said, well, okay, I allow you to move to the big city. And I know it is so another adjustment because I don't speak Tagalog. I speak 7 languages. I mean dialect when I moved to Manila, because I don't know what is it, and I speak now in my states I speak 5 foreign languages. So anyway, when I moved to Manila, it was so difficult because first and foremost, I don't speak the language. I don't speak Tagalog. So it was a big adjustment. You know what I did to learn Tagalog? I was talking to the kids, because the kids, they don't embarrass you, or they don't see embarrassment word. They don't say anything, they don't correct you, they don't laugh at you. So all my buddy is the kids, like 3 years old, 5 years old, 6 years old. I took them to the park and play with them, because at that time my dad has a younger brother who lived in Manila. But it was unfortunate because I thought that when I arrived in his home, I will literally welcome. I was expecting that he welcomed me graciously, he embraced me graciously, but it was wrong. I feel like a stranger to his family, but they don't say anything, but actions speak louder than words. Their body language, the way they treat me, the way they talk to me. So I said, it's okay. If I can have the opportunity to find a job, then I'll be okay. Oh, it was literally another setback, because first, I don't know the language. I don't know anybody except my uncle. But he don't even ask me how I feel, how is it, you know. losing a mother, what he can do. Nobody asked me about that kind of comfort. Nobody asked me about what they can do for me. And it's like they don't know you as a family member of his family. So I questioned myself. I said, what is that? Why these relatives are so distant? It was like, it's better sometimes. Other people, or they ask you how you feel, what they can do for you, what happened. So it's okay. The more I feel like disowned, I feel like I was not being embraced. I feel like I was not being because I'm not seeking some attention. I'm seeking a person that they will understand you about your feelings, about your losing a mother, the loneliness, the homesick. Oh my goodness, homesick there is no such word to define what is really the definition of homesick. That is the most killer to your emotional and psychological and mental being, the physical being, because oh my goodness, that is the one that is so painful that there is no right word in a dictionary that you can find. There is no such right word to define how you feel about the homesick, the loneliness, the sadness, the tragedy. That, oh my goodness, I don't know, it's so difficult to process. But again, the more I endure that kind of I would say disown, the more strong I become, because I've been being bullied. You see, I experienced that bullying, and it's not pleasant. People, because I was so small person and my skin is so dark, so people, they call me nog, meaning black. That's what people are calling me, nog. So I said, why these people are so mean to me, they don't, but I didn't see anything. I just take it. I don't see anything. I don't complain. I just take it because I don't know the meaning about that words at that time, because of course I am from the province. Then you move to the big city, and you don't know, that is a big change to the environment where you came from and you were in. Oh my goodness, it was a big adjustment. So anyway, after 1 week, I have the opportunity and I have the ability to know the area, where to go, and how to get your transportation, because sometimes in the afternoon I walk miles and miles just to see the environment, just to know the route of the jeepney in Manila. And it's so noisy. Of course, you came from the province and you moved to the big city, that it is so noisy. Oh my goodness, it is a different adjustment. So anyway, I found a job. That's my first job, to take care, to be a babysitter. Oh my goodness, when he is just like a 1-year-old little boy, and oh my goodness, when he cry, He will cry to the top of his lungs, and he don't stop until, I don't know. I just took him inside the church, and he was crying and crying and crying. I think because it was echoing inside the church, because I took him to the church with me and I carry him, because of course that's only my comfort to pray, and because that's my strong belief that prayer can move the mountain. So again, I think this is a little bit long series right now, so I have to continue again, and hopefully you enjoy it. This my my journey, and continue watching, because I will have to go to the next series number 3, and thank you again for allowing me to visit you in your gracious living room and entertain you and share my quest and my journey towards my University of Life. So okay, talk to you soon, and enjoy and share, and see you in the 3rd series of my journey. Bye for now. I know God is good.